I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength that face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The way of the world's above.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT Post-Show Rewind for November the 12th, 2024. I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, here with Little Molly Holly, the long-haired Chihuahua, rolling solo tonight, guys, with my manager here, of course, and John's there and up in Studio A running the thing from the background for us. Oh, Molly got caught on my cord. Live radio, guys. But hey, we're here to talk about NXT. And real quick, shout out to Saska Creations for our opening credits song we got rocking there tonight. Fantastic, as always. And guys, before we get in headlong to NXT tonight, I do have to give a proper shout out to our partner on the web, comicbookclick.com. That is comicbookclick.com/dirtsheetradio for all of your comic book, pop culture, wrestling, entertainment needs, all in one convenient location. Check it out. Make it your homepage. Look at it multiple times a day, just like we do. Not because we're legally obligated to do so, but because we love to do it. Folks, we had a heck of a NXT tonight. And, you know, there's a lot going on and a lot happened. They pack a lot into 2 hours, but not in the same way that Raw seems to try to pack a lot into 2 hours, where it's a bit overbooked and overcrowded. NXT seems to have their 2 hour system down, so I don't really know why they couldn't just kind of, you know, copy that system up on the main roster for this. But we're going to talk first tonight about the main event. We had the North American Championship on the line. Fallon Henley champion defending against Kalani. Jordan Kalani finally getting that one-on-one rematch after having lost to Fallon Henley at the end of that gauntlet a few weeks ago. This being Fallon Henley's first defense of that championship tonight. 9 minutes, 32 seconds. Fallon Henley retains that title. Lauren, I agree completely. It was a fantastic, great episode of NXT tonight. I feel that way most weeks, but tonight especially I thought was one of their, top-notch best examples of why you tune in week after week for this program. But Fallon retains a little bit of chicanery there. JC Jane lands a right hook to Kalani Jordan's face, pushing towards the win there for Fallon. Not the only involvement in this. I'll never really understand how outside interference can occur, but it's not a disqualification unless they physically hit the other I guess Kalani Jordan can throw them around and it's, nothing. Maybe it's referee discretion. We're living in a world of referee discretion, I suppose. But Fatal Influence was a major influence over this match, which was to be expected. I like that. I think that they're booking them very well. I've said this several weeks in a row that, one, I like their entrance theme. It's fantastic. It fits the whole gimmick really, really well. But they're all doing very well in their roles here. And I, as much as I like Kalani Jordan and as good as I think she's been doing, I think it's right to keep this on Fallon right now and to let Fatal Influence have a bit of a run here over that portion of the women's division. Also worth noting, another moment in the match where Kalani had the visual victory, we'll say. JC Jane did throw Fallon Henley's foot onto that rope, pointing to the ref there. But great match. This might have been Kalani Jordan's best match that did not involve Sol Ruca. And that's again, speaking a lot to Kalani. She's coming leaps and bounds every week. No pun intended, because she's got a lot of high flying skill there. Division I gymnast and all that. But yeah, great match. Possibly a match of the night. We'll get there. We got a lot to talk about tonight. A little delineation. Knocked it around in the brain a little bit more before I say that for sure. But after the match, though, I mean, as exciting and impactful as the main event was, after the match, poor Vic Joseph. Anytime someone runs through and needs to get the attention of commentary or use a headset of commentary, it's his headset they take. No one's ever pulling a headset off of Booker T. But OTM yanking the headset off of Vic Joseph, shouting about how they're going to, take advantage and run over the NXT tag division. They're going to get that shot. And then they're jumped, and it was just a schmoz with a large portion of the NXT tag team division running out there. Pretty much everybody was up there. The family, OTM, Hank and Tank, Gallus. It was, I said that last night's Raw felt like the end of a Thunder, and that was a negative. This kind of felt like the end of a Nitro, and I mean that as a positive, They keep you wanting more with NXT, and they're doing better now. Knowing they're not going to get that overrun and the CW is going to cut them off hard line at 10 o'clock because local news does not like to wait for anything. In the CW here in the U.S., at the very least, if you're watching NXT in the United States, there's local news on after. It might be national news. I don't know. It's news. Regardless, the news waits for no man or wrestling show. But using that kind of schmoz, brawl ending, if they had cut the feed a little bit early, it wouldn't have been as negative as, losing a bit of the end of the match or something like that. But really looking forward to what they're doing with all this, tag team turmoil. Although I hate the concept of a tag team turmoil match, I'm using it as an adjective here. But you understand. But yeah, so fantastic main event. And, hey, as tradition is, I'm going to hop from there to the start of tonight's show. We were back in the WWE Performance Center tonight in Orlando, Florida. Back home, everyone. Love being back in the PC. The crowd was really, really hyped tonight, which is great. Maybe they were a little extra hyped because they're starting to understand that they're not going to be getting this show every single week without fail. We've talked about it here on the show a bit, but I'm a proponent of NXT being on the road at least a couple times a month. I think it's a much better litmus test as to who's over and how over they really are. So really, hoping they keep that up. But anyway, They opened with Vic Joseph and Booker T not at the commentary desk, but standing there at ringside to run down the start of the show and to throw to a video package recapping last week's NXT CW, which we covered in the NXT AEW Super Show featuring Brock Lesnar that did not have Brock Lesnar appear. If y'all remember that from last week. But after the video recap of the events of last week's NXT, we had our first match, the Metaphor, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend taking on Stephanie Vaquer and Julia in tag team action. So again, getting another shot of Julia and Stephanie Vaquer teaming up here. I like them. They work well as a team, but obviously their paths are as singles competitors here in both NXT and WWE. Great opening match. This is actually why I kind of stuttered to say what I feel like my match of the night was. I thought this was a fantastic tag team match. Great opener, just great match in general. Really set the tone for the night. But when it was all said and done, in just under 11 minutes, I think 10:49 is what I had it clocked at, Julia and Stephanie Vaquer pick up the win. And this is actually a pretty sizable win for them. You know, this isn't just kind of a random tag team win on NXT. You're beating Metaphor. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend have, they've been rubbing elbows up on the main roster. So, perception-wise, this is massive for both Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. After the match, a very short in-ring interview where they were basically asked what would happen if the both of them made it to Deadline as competitors in the Iron Survivor Challenge, and they stood across from one another, they shook hands, and they said they'd see each other then. So hopefully they are both in. I can't believe that we are almost back up to Deadline. I'm not sure if I'm right on this. I want to say Deadline was the first NXT PLE we covered once we started doing these DSR rewinds. So coming up on a year of all of this starting, guys. Like, time flies when you're having a blast talking about wrestling. So. But yes, Sue, after the commercial break, we came back and they ran down a video package explaining the rules of the Iron Survivor match. I'm not going to run through it right now, guys. I'm sorry. It's a little lengthy. It's not like, Reverse Battle Royal or King of the Mountain. Actually, it's kind of King of the Mountain-ish, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Although it is one of those matches where it kind of blows a little bit of the suspension of disbelief because a lot of pinfalls happen in a relatively short amount of time, often in that last 5 minutes. But it's always fun. So Deadline's coming up December 7th, guys. December 7th. Mark your calendars now. But speaking of Deadline, we had our first Iron Survivor qualifier, Sol Ruka taking on Cora Jade. And with the announced matches, this was one of the ones I was most looking forward to tonight. And it was not one of the longer matches this evening. 3 minutes, 33 seconds. Sol Ruka, the first competitor to stamp her way, or win her way, stamp her pass, stamp her passport. Porpoise pass sounds like something a dolphin would use to get from place to place. She was the first to stamp her passport to Minneapolis. Not that you would need a passport to get to Minneapolis, Minnesota, but she will be competing in the Iron Survivor match. Great match for as short as it was. Cora doing some good heel stall tactics at the beginning, sitting on the top turnbuckle, refusing to come down, and then relentlessly complaining when Sol did the same thing to mock her. So good heel work here. I didn't know who was going to win going into this. I really could have seen this going either way, but I understand them wanting to put Sol there. I'm sure they have a slightly different plan for Cora going forward. I know that Cora definitely has a plan. They're not going to leave her rudderless as it would be. But Sol Ruka, first one in the Iron Survivor match coming up at Deadline. From there, we went to the backstage area, and we saw first Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans briefly talking about Evans beating Lexis King. And then we had Carmen Petrovic and Dion Lennox, who appeared to be flirting a little bit when they were approached by Brindley Reese and Ashante the Adonis. Ashante was a little upset with Dion. He's like, I'm my best friend doing this. To which Dion said, since when are we best friends? He said, well, since last week, I thought. But so it still appears that Carmen Petrovic and Ashante the Adonis are doing this. Will they, won't they? I still don't understand why Carmen Petrovic is falling for his just line of bullshit here. But she is. She's not seeing through it yet. Dion challenged Adonis to a match next week. They kind of implied, though, like there might be some mixed tag action in the future as well. They were saying that, maybe Carmen and Ashante should tag together, see how they get along. Or maybe they were using tag as a euphemism here. It's possible. It's network TV. They got to be a little cagey with the verbiage on certain things. But, goodness. But from that backstage segment, we went into a large conference room where Ava had gathered the majority of NXT's men's tag teams and was explaining to them that she wants all of them to step up and get better and, be more fierce, be more competitive, to, really stake your claim and make your case and show that you deserve that NXT tag team title shot. I go back and forth on how I feel about segments like this. You've got a bunch of wrestlers in one room, and I get it. They're technically your employees. You're the GM of NXT, but like wrestlers are supposed to be kind of like rebels and lawless. And it's always funny to me when they have them like kind of like come into a conference room or stand single file on the entrance ramp, not for obviously like memorial reasons, but like when Stephanie McMahon used to just come out and belittle the entire roster. Things like that. It's just like, I don't feel wrestlers would do that, but nonetheless, they had to get the point across and set up for that schmuzz that happened at the end of the night. But from the conference room with the tag teams, we will go to our first men's Iron Survivor qualifier. Cedric Alexander taking on Wes Lee. And this match was every bit as fantastic as you would expect it to be on paper. They put on a hell of a show here tonight. 11 minutes and 52 seconds. Might have been the longest match. It was. This was the longest match we had tonight. Wes Lee qualifying for the Iron Survivor, being the first man to qualify for the Iron Survivor tournament or match this year. But yeah, guys, hell, I was about to say, if you only have time to watch one match of NXT this week, go back and watch this one, but try to squeeze in the whole show. It goes by so fast. It's an easy 2 hours to watch every week. I really don't know what to say about Wes Lee or Cedric Alexander that I haven't said 100,000 times. Just ridiculously athletic, wildly talented in the ring. They told a great story here. I'm trying to figure out how long I've been watching Cedric Alexander work now, too. I've been watching him since his startup in Ring of Honor, but it's good. This is a good place for Cedric right now. They weren't doing a heck of a lot with him up on the main roster, and having him down here, yes, it's a loss, but he's a veteran at this point in wrestling, and he's got a lot of, I'm sure, wisdom and things that he can help impart to that next generation. Not that really Wes has a lot of cooking left to do down there at NXT. I'm sure if they could find a suitable story or place for him up on the main roster, he could slide in pretty much whenever. Just absolutely amazing. But yeah, Wes Lee picking up the win in 11 minutes and 52 seconds. So fantastic match. Go watch it. All right. So I'd say backstage. We weren't backstage. We went to Tony D'Angelo's restaurant. I don't know that it's Tony D'Angelo's restaurant. The restaurant that Tony D'Angelo frequents. But he's at his private table eating his pasta. And he is approached by Shawn Spears and Brooks Jensen. The segment was fun. Maybe a little overproduced, if anything. But NXT loves their cinematic segments. I'm talking background music, multiple camera angles. Fantastic. But he was, as I said, he was approached by Shawn Spears and Brooks Jensen. And Spears wants a title shot, but he's going to earn it by having Brooks Jensen beat Tony D'Angelo. All right. I mean, the Don wasn't super impressed with the methodology there, but he accepted there. Seemed interested. But as they left the restaurant, and this is where the multiple camera angles got a little bit silly. They cut from Sean getting into the SUV to a shot of him in the SUV. Just a bit much, guys. But good camera work, great segment, very Sopranos-esque here. But he told Brooks Jensen that is how you handle a boss. Right, true. And he turned to the chauffeur. I think he said Nico, I think. And off they drove. I'm not going to lie. When he turned to face the front of the SUV, I really expected Undertaker to turn around and say, "Where to, Stephanie?" That's just where my brain goes every time they do a bit like that. Just can't get that one out of there. That's indelibly marked in the old noggin. But so yeah, looks like Sean Spears is expanding his stable of devotees. I suppose it is very, very cult-like here. But as I said, I like this for Sean Spears. And I'm not really a Sean Spears guy. I'm not a Ty Dillinger guy, historically. I thought his best contribution to wrestling overall prior to this was getting kicked in the face by Shawn Michaels backstage as Stan. Don't at me over that. But I like this for him. I feel like this character is working. It's working well for Brooks Jensen. So, this is raising all boats in that tide. From the restaurant, we hit the backstage area where Brian Saxton was interviewing Kalani Jordan ahead of her North American Championship match. That was the main event. She was approached by Jacy Jane and Jasmine Nix of Fatal Influence, who told her that if Fallon looks like she can't get it done, one or both of them will make sure she gets it done. So, I'd say foreshadowing when they flat out told you what was going to happen right there. That is exactly what happened in the main event. They did make sure that Fallon got it done. But from the backstage area, we had NXT champion Trick Williams making his way out to the ring. And he came out there and he said he wanted to talk about what was next for for Trick Williams. And that was Rich Holland. Sorry. And so he calls out Rich Holland, but he doesn't get Rich Holland. He gets Andre Chase making his return to NXT television after being shoved in the back of an Ecto-1 at Halloween Havoc. And Mr. Chase, he was apologetic for interrupting the NXT champion Trick Williams. But he told him that he was not done with Rich Holland, not by a long shot, not yet. He had unfinished business with Rich. And they chatted back and forth a little bit, and this was awesome. I love that they did this. Trick gave some flowers to Andre, thanked him for, what he's accomplished and everything he's done in NXT over the years, and he's done a lot. But he's never held the NXT championship or even had an NXT championship match. And it looked like he was just about to grant him that title shot, and out comes a very, very angry, evil, dastardly, foul-mouthed, evil Rich Holland. And Rich Holland is very upset, clearly, as I just stated, that Andre Chase, who he beat and shoved into an ambulance, was going to be given a title shot for nothing. I want to bring up the boos that Rich Holland received, not just when he came out to interrupt, but during the entire duration of him speaking. I don't want to say it was Dominic Mysterio level of boos, but for the Performance Center, that's about as close as you can get, and Dom has worked the Performance Center. You had a hard time hearing Rich speaking over the boos, and as soon as Andre started speaking again, quiet, let him talk. But yeah, fantastic segment here. Andre wants to fight Rich Holland, and Rich Holland has no interest in fighting him. He wants that title shot that he thinks he is owed because he pinned Trick Williams last week. And Andre says he'll put Chase U up against Ridge if Ridge accepts the match, and Ridge still says, "No, I don't want your crummy little college. I'm not interested in that." And we thought that pretty quickly, though. As soon as Trick Williams kind of pointed some things out that, Andre isn't alone like Ridge. Andre has these wonderful friendships and relationships that he's fostered with these students that he has mentored. Riley Osborne and Thea Hale and Duke Hudson. He's, went name by name. And he had stated that if Ridge wanted the shot, he could beat Andre. And if Andre wins, he gets the shot. If Ridge wins, he gets the shot. But it wasn't until the Trick Williams pointed out that Andre Chase had these wonderful relationships with these individuals that Ridge changed his tune. He said, yeah, I want that. I want that. If I win, your relationship with Duke Hudson is over. Your relationship with Thea Hale is over. Your relationship with Riley Osborne is over. You will have nothing to do with any of them. He thought about it. He thought about it for a moment. Rich Holland pointing out what a gamble it is. And we all know that Andre Chase has a little bit of a gambling problem. He has gambled the university away before in the past. Dug himself back. They fought back to prominence. But after giving it consideration, he accepted the match. Chase U will be on the line next week when Andre Chase and Ridge Holland meet again one-on-one. Chase U is on the line. A shot at the NXT Championship at Deadline is on the line. It's a lot, guys. And I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to be sweating for a week here. I should probably put on my Chase U shirt and not take it off all week. Just that's superstition, right? That's what people that watch real sports do, right? That's correct. They to get that, magic going for the team. I'm nervous, guys. I don't think I really necessarily see Andre Chase getting an NXT title shot, but I don't want Chase U to disband. So I'm going to kind of hop a couple segments ahead here just to talk about this and pop a theory out. A little bit later tonight, and then I will hop back to where I am in the show here, y'all, I promise. But a little bit later in the night, they had Thea Hale, Duke Hudson, and Riley Osborne approach Andre Chase. Not very happy that he's, again, willing to bet the farm here on, a big event. And he's confident. He told them that it'll all be fine, and when it's all said and done, they're going to be riding the highest high. And as he walked away, Duke Hudson said, or the lowest lows. And Duke, Riley, and Thea really looked pretty upset about this whole thing. And I would wonder if maybe they're planning to have them all turn on Andre and side with Ridge Holland. Ridge U, as it would be at that point. Or Holland U, I guess. It wouldn't be his first name, but you understand. So I think that is a possibility where they could be going with this. I mean, because otherwise Chase U's just gone. They're going to take everything away from Andre. I don't know, guys. I'm nervous. It's going to be some rough sleeps for me for the next week until I have a outcome here. But moving on from there, we had a video segment with Jada Parker stating her intentions to compete in and win the Iron Survivor match this year. I actually think she'd be a really good candidate to win that match. I'd love to see them have her go that route. Jada Parker is, God, it's such a cliche to say, but when it comes to wrestling, like, she's the real deal, guys. Like, she has absolutely everything it takes to be a very long-term main roster and eventually main event wrestler. She's fantastic on the mic. She's great in the ring. And she's still so new at this. She has so much improvement to have. And she's already so good. And we say it a lot. I mean, she kind of revitalized OTM. She is the real deal. I feel like Booker T saying something like that, but it's the fact. But great video package. All these video packages are always good. Jada's good on a live mic. She doesn't need to be pre-recorded, but when she is, hell, even better. From that video package, we were back to the backstage area. We had Brooks Jensen with Pro Wrestling Noah wrestler Yoshiki Inumura. I think I said that right. I always butcher names the first couple times, y'all. So I do apologize if that wasn't exactly on track there. But so I'm assuming we'll maybe see some Noah wrestlers on NXT, perhaps going forward here. Ava did say that she's been very impressed with him. So hey, now. During that conversation, and as it kind of panned off, Eddie Thorpe burst into the scene. Eddie Thorpe feels that he's been being blown off by Ava week after week here, and he was saying that he's sick and tired of it. And she's like, "Look! Hey, I'm sorry I didn't make time for you, but I booked you in an Iron Survivor qualifier." So he was happy about that. He's like, "Let's go!" And he ran out of the, and then he went. So he's got an Iron Survivor qualifier match. I'm assuming coming up next week. It wasn't, and I don't know that they actually said that or not. But yeah, so he's happy now. He got his match. He's still getting kind of blown off by her, not really getting the time of day, but he's got a match, so happy there. All right, speaking of matches, our next match on the card, we had Adriana Rizzo of the family trying to get a little vengeance on her attacker, Nikita Lyons. Vengeance was and wasn't to be Adriana Rizzo's tonight. Nikita Lyons wins the match in just about 4.5 minutes. Really good match, actually. But afterwards, Adriana Rizzo lost the battle but wins the war as she takes a crowbar to Nikita Lyons and dropping her to the mat. As I said, not the longest match on the card tonight, but they put forward some good work and told a pretty good story in 4.5 minutes. I think that Nikita Lyons winning here was the right decision. I think that Adriana Rizzo is coming along very well, but Nikita is positioned a little higher on the card than her right now, and her just coming back from injury, and she hasn't won all of her matches since coming back either. So I think it was kind of important for her to get this win here. Rizzo will get her full vindication at some point in the future. And as I said, she kind of got her vengeance here with the crowbar after the match. Maybe she'll be satisfied with that. But solid work here. My only complaint about Nikita Lyons is I really hate the screaming. Hey, Byron. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man. I really don't like the screaming that she does. It's just a little shrill for my taste. And I think Booker T said she was roaring. I don't know how many times he's heard a roar in his life, but it doesn't sound like ah. So, yeah, Nikita getting the win here. From there, we actually went into that backstage segment I talked about after the Chase and Trick Williams, Rich Holland segment. After that, we had a quick video package hyping Zarya for her Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying match. And from there, we went into a men's Iron Survivor qualifier. We had Lexus King, the television star, as Booker T calls him, taking on the young OG Javon Evans. The second Javon Evans' entrance theme started, that crowd bounced, as it would be. He is so over already, and so young and so talented already. Great match. And again, people might think I'm a little crazy here, but I've talked about how there were several contenders for match of the night for me tonight for different reasons in each case. And there are reasons I would make a case for this match having been match of the night. 8 minutes, 11 seconds. Javon Evans picking up the win here. Right guy won the match, first of all. But I'm going to say it now. A lot of people have been detracting here. Guys, I'm going full CM Punk setting here. It's working. This is working for Lexus King. It's actually working now. This whole redemption arc for him, wanting to be a better man. I really hope it's not just leading towards a swerve, right back into a heel turn here. I don't want that to happen. I like this. I even like something that Vic Joseph said during commentary. There was a point in the match where Javon looked like he might have been, kayfabe legitimately hurt. And Lexus King had the chance to pounce on that, to take advantage of someone he thought was legitimately injured. And he didn't. And in that moment, Vic Joseph said, he's got a loose cannon on one shoulder and Flying Brian on the other. And I thought that was just, a little corny, but more brilliant than corny. And I like that. I like that they're kind of playing that he's got these aspects of his father that are fighting internally in him to determine what kind of man he is going to be. It's good. It's a good story. And I think they're finally finding his fit here. But I'm liking this. I'm liking this quite a lot. So yeah, solid. And I don't know that I'm, the only one that feels that way. Maybe other people are starting to feel that way towards it. But hey, if I'm alone on it, I'm alone on it. But I don't think that I am. But let me know, guys. Sorry. Really kind of marked out on that a little bit about how well I think they're doing Lexus King now. So that being said, after the loss, and it was a solid clean loss, and like I said, he looked good here. He's even looking better in the ring than he was. Shook hands. Javon Evans offered the handshake. They shook hands. They hugged, and Lexus King raised Javon's hand. And again, Vic Joseph on commentary pointing out that Javon Evans is the first person to actually kind of accept Lexus King as this new man that he is becoming. So I loved it, guys. I think it's working really well. The television star, Lexus King. Yeah. So from what I thought was a stellar story, we went to the backstage area. Axiom and Nathan Fraser. I mean, a little bit look-wise. I mean, he's a blonde guy wearing pants. It was a little bit like him, too. I don't know that I would give him a lot of direct comparison, though, not on the mic, character-wise, or in ring, but it's certainly something to aspire to be, for sure. I'm not even sure how old he is right now, so Axiom and Nathan Fraser, backstage Fraxium, as I like to call them, and as they actually are called, but they don't seem to call them that all the time anymore. But they were discussing the potential of who they could face as their next challengers, as the tag team champions. And Nathan Fraser was like, well, speaking of champions, I've got a qualifier for the Iron Survivor Challenge. And holy hell, Axiom was not happy about this. Again, they're going back to this near fracturing of Fraxium, and it's really hot and cold on this, back to week to week. And Nathan Fraser was like, look, you've competed in this match. I was going to ask your advice on it, and we'll talk. And he walks off, and Axiom is approached by OTM and the family. And they're like, hey, your partner doesn't look like he's all committed to this. And I don't know, guys. I mean, they really keep saying that Fraxium are on the same page, but, every time they're out there defending those titles, they end up retaining them. So, again, as much as I'd like to see a feud between Nathan Fraser and Axiom, I love having them as a team. I think they work really, really well. I'm going to bring back up a comment real quick here. From Lauren, saying that she's unimpressed by Nikita Lyons, that her promos are blah and her ring gear is gross and her ring style is disjointed. I agree that she's definitely been a little clunky since her return. I don't know if she's not kind of going full throttle in fear of re-injuring herself, but and I thought I was the only person that really went after people's ring gear. But I can understand not being impressed by her. I've gone back and forth on her a little bit. I thought she looked pretty good here in the ring tonight. But, time will tell. Sometimes it takes a little time to get the wind back under the wings there. But I just wanted to bring that back up because I understand that, and I know that Nikita certainly does have her detractors. Let's see here. I think that's just about back up to the main event. Oh, I get to talk about Lexis King one more time. In the locker room, we had Hank and Tank, and some of their tag teams were there, and Lexis King walks in looking kind of dejected, as, another loss. But Hank and Tank and the gatekeeper of NXT Level Up, Dante Chen, were congratulating him on doing the right thing. And, and being, an upstanding competitor. And again, it looks like he's getting accepted. And I love this. I love this kind of story. I love a good redemption arc, guys. I love it. But as they were kind of, telling him that he's a good dude and, did the right thing, in comes Gallus and, they're being mean and, saying that, it's, I congratulate him. And then tag teams, they start to argue and fight. And it looked like Lexis King was trying to, quell the argument there. I don't know. When it comes to the tag teams, too, I will say, I'm really hoping that, we can get Hank and Tank with those straps at some point. I love Hank and Tank. I want Hank and Tank to be at the top of that division someday, and I think they can do it. But, guys, that takes us right back up to tonight's main event that I discussed at the top of this evening's program. And as is tradition and the way we like to do things, that is going to take us into the NXT Jobber of the Night for November the 12th, 2024. And guys, I really didn't have a good jobber here. I don't think anybody really did a bad job. I feel like everyone played their parts really well here. So I'm going to go with my standby. It's Carmen Petrovic. Because you're still buying Ashante the Adonis's bullshit. Okay? Wake up from it. Can't you see? He's just a gross Lothario. All right? All right, word of the night, guys. Lothario. It's one of my favorite words. Look it up. Anyway, why? Why can't you see through this? And on behalf of CJ, you're gross, Ashante. There you go. Shout out to CJ. So still, since I don't really have a proper one, Carmen Petrovic on standby until she opens her eyes and see through Ashante's BS is my running jobber of the night for NXT. From there into the more upside of it, the NXT megastar of the night. And, as difficult as the time as I had trying to find a jobber, difficult time finding a megastar here. So good. Every match was good tonight. I have no complaints here at all. But I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a divergent path from how I've chosen this, but I'm saying Ridge Holland tonight. The boos and the negative reaction he got and how well he is doing this character now, I like it. And again, he's someone that I did not like coming into NXT. I haven't really been a fan of, but they made me enjoy what he is doing. And if not him, I would give it to Lexis King because I love what they're doing with him right now. But I kind of gushed about Lexis enough. I'm going to give it to Ridge Holland tonight, which I can't believe I'm doing. But shit, he's doing a good job with this character. I'm enjoying this story between him and Trick, and now the resurgence of the feud between him and Chase. Again, I really, really, really would rather see Chase get the win over him next week, but I don't see Andre Chase getting an NXT title shot in the main event of a PLE. I just don't see it happening. But Ridge Holland there. But guys, that's NXT tonight in a nutshell. Really, really solid show. Well, Lauren, I had to, it's always a good choice, always. Javon Evans is such a good talent. And he's like, 20 years old, give or take? He's got a long career ahead of him. And he's already kind of finding himself. Eventually he will have to, I think, start to move past the very bubbly, happy-go-lucky attitude, but he's young and it works for him right now. And always a good choice there. But guys, I want to thank everyone that's tuned in live with me tonight and stuck there just to hear me chatter on about NXT. However, if you enjoyed the content that you heard tonight, I have wonderful news for you. Dirt Sheet Radio isn't just here to talk about NXT on Tuesdays. We're here every night of the week. Wrestling never stops, and neither do we. We are here Monday nights for Raw. We are here, obviously, Tuesday nights for NXT. New logo, too. It looks great. Wednesday nights, you know what that means. It's AEW Dynamite. Thursday nights, well, that was made for TNA Impact. And, of course, Fridays, we have SmackDown. Never going to say down until they change that logo. And on Sundays, CJ and I are trying to get our act together. We will be bringing the Weekend Wrestling Roundup with a W your way in the near future. I promise you it is coming back, guys. We miss getting to chat every Sunday about wrestling and catching up. It is coming back, I promise. But on Sundays, every week, you can tune into the 3NT and check them out. Crisp logo there. But they are going live every single Sunday, breaking down everything in professional wrestling and having a fun time doing it. And guys, on Wednesday nights, if you're up super duper late after the AEW Dynamite recap, check out the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship program late into the night. But if you're like me, just check it out Thursday mornings. It'll be there with your morning coffee, and you can listen to it on your commute. Maybe not while you're taking the kids to school. Lesson learned there. But on the commute in general, good idea for it. Guys, this is little Molly Holly here. I'm Tyler, the pro wrestling hipster. If you want to give me a follow over on Facebook, it is the Pro Wrestling Hipster. But only follow me after you have given Dirt Sheet Radio a follow. I assume you're already following Dirt Sheet Radio on all of their socials. But guys, thank you very, very much for tuning in live. Dirt Sheet Radio will be back live tomorrow night for AEW Dynamite. We'll see you then.